ran an ad about how to grow your business without relying on social media. And within 24 hours of that ad going live, Facebook shut down my ads account. How different my life is with zero social media whatsoever. I don't spend any time scrolling. I don't know what other people are doing. I'm not comparing myself to other business owners. For so many reasons, that's been really great. I knew how to get clients. I knew that word of mouth and referrals was a very solid marketing engine for my business because I have a really good product and service that gets people incredible results and encourage them to go talk about it. And they will. When they tell you they're struggling and you confidently say,
today I have a special guest who has a unique perspective on growing a profitable wellness business. And this guest is Andrea Nordling. After 20 years in business and running a successful nutritional therapy practice, Andrea founded the Profitable Nutritionist, where she helps holistic nutritionists and health coaches start and grow hugely profitable businesses without relying on social media. This is a bit different from what you've heard from previous guests and may just be the thing that connects the dots for you. So without further ado, let's bring on Andrea Nordling. Andrea, welcome onto the show.
thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm incredibly excited to dive in, and I'm intrigued by the way that you do things because it's a lot different than some of our previous guests have talked about or suggested. And I love this kind of anti-social media approach that you take. I think our listeners are going to really love that as well. But before we dive into that, you and I actually have a similar story that I haven't told you about yet. So this was 2021, I believe it was. My husband and I and our two kids hopped in an RV and we traveled across country for 3 months was supposed to be our trip. And believe it or not, we actually broke down in Temecula, California, Southern California. No intention of moving here. And here we are today, still 4 years later, never
Amazing.
left. Yes. And so that experience actually shaped a lot of the way I do business. And I know you have a similar kind of story of how this experience and travel really shaped the way you wanted to do business. So I'd love to hear from you, your story.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I love connecting on this because it takes a special type of person to just pack up the whole fam and hit the road.
Yeah, it's a risk for sure.
It is a risk. It's a risk. And I think that that's what it is, right? It's some risk tolerance. It's like some adventure seeking, some of that, which in business plays well too. So yeah, let's talk about
Absolutely.
that. So I did not okay. It all happened kind of at the same time. That no social media and hitting the road in the RV and completely shaking up my business, all of that happened pretty much simultaneously. In retrospect, I could see that. At the time, it didn't feel like it was, all systematic, but I could see like, oh yeah, that was all happening. So prior to us leaving and having an adventure, which we did in 2020. So while life was very strange in so many ways, my husband and I kind of unsubscribed from that entire experience. And we're like, we're going to sell the house. Kids aren't going back to school anyway, at least not in a normal capacity. So we are going to go have an adventure. And we didn't know how long it was going to be, and we didn't know what that was going to look like. Now, before that, I already had an online business, and I had this magical thing called the school bus that came every morning and picked up the children and brought them to school.
What an idea.
Brought them home every day. And that time in between, I had a beautiful office that I could work in and that I did all of the things in, all of the social media, all of the things. And so I worked a lot and it was my passion and it was super fun. And I felt like this is a challenge, like figuring out this online business thing. Like I'm going to crack the code on this. And it was fun and it was taxing and it was all of those things together. But the bottom line is I had a lot of time and I had a nice office to do it in. And then when we decided to shake up our life and we were going to be living in an RV together and I was going to now be homeschooling, at least I thought I was going to be homeschooling. I will be honest, not a whole lot of schooling happened in our life. That was
They got a different type of experience, a different type of learning.
Yeah. I was like, okay, there's not even a home now and there's really not that much school. I don't know what we're doing, but it's kind of fun and we're going to keep going with it. So I quickly realized that I couldn't run my business the same way anymore. I couldn't do all of the things anymore. I did not have 8 hours a day to waste time on things that weren't working, for example. So I had to really, really simplify my business, break it down to like, what are the few things that I need to do to actually get clients and serve them well? And about that same time, so I did that. Well, I guess I could put a period at the end of that sentence. So I did that. So I simplified a lot and got a lot more efficient and made more money as a result. So that was great. But in that same time frame in 2020, when things were really strange for a lot of reasons, I was noticing holistic practitioners getting censored on social media. And just a lot of things that were going on in social media were not exactly uplifting. We'll just leave it at that. So it was not a place I wanted to be. I already had this feeling of stirring of like, I don't want to be on here. I don't want to be doing this anymore. But I felt like I needed to be to continue growing my business. And so I started running an ad because I ran ads. And I ran an ad about how to grow your business without relying on social media. And within 24 hours of that ad going live, Facebook shut down my ads account.
Wow. See, I always think about these things. You see people posting about like how to, do XYZ without social media or let's social media detox. And I always wonder if they are censoring that.
Yeah. So in 2020, it wasn't even under the radar. It was just literally the next day. I didn't have an ads account. It said, you've violated our community standards, and I never got it back. And so I already had this feeling of like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like what's going on here. And then that happened. Now I run ads about growing your business without relying on social media. And the times have changed at least enough where I can run those ads and not get my account shut down. But at the time, that wasn't the case. And so that was the impetus for me to just go like, I'm going to show you, Mark Zuckerberg. I'm done. I'm over it. And I shut all of my social media accounts down, personal, professional, like deleted them, all of them. And that was at the very beginning of 2021. And so now in retrospect, this has become something that I talk about a lot, like how different my life is with zero social media whatsoever. I don't spend any time scrolling. I don't know what other people are doing. I'm not comparing myself to other business owners. So for so many reasons, that's been really great. But it wasn't like that was intentional at the time. Like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to just stop all social media and then I'm going to have something to talk about for the next 5 years. It's just like kind of how it happened. Yeah. So that's kind of the story.
Wow. Well, I know that our listeners today would love to know, okay, so how did you then get clients? So what you teach that now in your course, the Profitable Nutritionist, and what's your marketing strategy? How are you bringing people through the door?
Great question. So I had, prior to starting my holistic nutrition business online in 2015, I was a real estate broker. So I had a real estate company. The very short version of this is when I graduated from college, I had a year to kill between graduating college and when I thought I was going to be applying to the FBI Academy, which never happened. But in that year because I wasn't old enough to apply when I graduated. So in that year, someone in my life said, you should start selling real estate. And so I started selling real estate, which is just a joke of jokes, like a 22-year-old that never had even bought a house before is who's going to buy a house from them. But they did. It worked out. It's very strange. So I had a career in real estate before my holistic nutrition business. And that career in real estate really broke my adrenals and really broke a lot of my body, which is how I got into holistic nutrition. So it's all very full circle. But the point of that is I knew how to get clients. I knew that word of mouth and referrals was a very solid marketing engine for my business because I had done that in real estate a decade before. I never had a website for my real estate company. Every deal I did was word of mouth, and I sold hundreds of houses. So I knew how to do that. So in my online business, now this was very different. It was like, oh my gosh, now there's websites and there's funnels and there's podcasts and there's webinars. And it was just like the shiny new everything, which was really fun. Like, I think that probably most people listening to this can kind of resonate with that a little bit of like, oh yeah, it is kind of, it's cool. It's not lost on me that we can serve people all over the world at this. Like, it's amazing. This is pretty amazing. So I was really enamored with that and I loved it. But when I decided no more social media, no more of this, and we were traveling and we were doing all the things just for so many reasons, it was like, that's off the list now. I got back to what was actually bringing in the clients, which turns out was maybe one person a month from social media, and it was 10 a month from word of mouth and from referrals and people getting really good results and them sending their friends. And so when I really looked at it, it's like, oh, this is the same tried and true, like my clients they're like, it's old school. I'm like, it kind of is old school, but that's what has driven businesses for thousands of years, and it works pretty well, actually. So that's what I did. I went back to the basics. I'm like, okay, I have all of this time freed up. I'm not ever trying to wash my hair to go do stories ever again, because that's not something I'm doing. So what am I going to do with that time instead? And I got my clients better results, and I really loved on them and figured out, well, how can I make this simpler? How can I make this better? They got better results. Like, as just from really focusing on them, the referrals kept coming in and fast and furious. And then I also was doing some advertising with parallel business partners. So like for me and for you, we work with health and wellness practitioners. So I had different associations and different certifications and different nutrition schools that had a big gap with what I was teaching and what I was talking about. So they allowed me to advertise to their list, and then leads were coming in that way too. So it wasn't only word of mouth organic, though that was the bread and butter and still continues to be.
So word of mouth and collaborations were the primary.
Yeah. Get in front of your people and confidently make them an offer. And it turns out that works pretty well.
So many coaches, they get sidetracked with like you said, that shiny object syndrome. It's they see the next big thing and should I start this podcast? Should I do this, funnel, right? This fancy funnel that I see other people doing. And sometimes that works, but if you're doing 10 different strategies at once, you're going to dilute it and nothing's going to work.
Yeah.
And so I love that you found, okay, what in my business is actually providing me with the most amount of clients and how can I double down on that, right? It's as simple as that sometimes. And so I love that.
Which it really has been. And so now, after like really analyzing it and digging into the data and all for all these years, I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I did. At the time, I just was like, man, I hope I didn't do something really stupid there with activating all my social media, because it does feel so necessary. And we're told like, you have to do this. You have to connect to people. People come to me all the time and they're like, how will people think I'm a legitimate business owner if I don't have an Instagram page? And meanwhile, I'm like, I think somebody who's posting 6 times on their Instagram page isn't a legitimate business owner. Like to me, it's the exact opposite. But I understand that for a lot of people, that feels really weird and seems like, can you even do that? In 2025, going into 2026, answer is you can actually. You sure can.
And I find, for me, organic is very hard to track, right? And so I don't know necessarily. And there's different ways of being able to somewhat track certain things, but it's like how much of it is really coming from social. You don't really know from your organic social versus how much time you're putting into that. When you really look at the time, like a lot of people say, okay, organic is best. But when I look at how long it takes me to build organic content, for me personally, organic is not best for me. We do a lot with paid ads. That's our primary strategy. And then, like you said, you listened to an episode that I released not long ago about low ticket offers, and we run ads to those low ticket offers and then funnel people into other products. And so that's our primary sales mechanism. And it works really well for us because I'm spending a heck of a lot less time building out one ad than I am building out daily social content that tends to die within, less than 24 hours.
Right. The shelf life, very, 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 very short.
Very short.
And I just think that it's just not free. And people are like, well, it's free. It's just really not free. Your time isn't free. Your energy isn't free. All of the extra, because most strategies on social media, to my understanding, though I don't do these, there's a lot of DM component and there's a lot of engagement and there's so much time involved in that. It works for people that love it. Great, wonderful. I'm just not the coach for them. But if that isn't the strategy you want, then where do we put that time? Well, there's a lot of other ways that you can reach people. There's a lot of other ways you can reach people online. People are so fascinated. They're like, you have an online business and you're not on social media? Yeah. the internet is a big place. It sure is.
And it's just proof that like you truly don't. When you search for you, it's like you have an account and there's nothing there.
I should close the loop on that because people will be like, well, she runs ads again. So in summer of 2024, I did want to start running ads again. And I, to be honest, wasn't sure if Meta was going to just completely shut down my account again as soon as I talked about not relying on social media. It hasn't happened so far. So since summer of 2024, we have been running ads again. So I have a business account on Facebook and Instagram. There's one post on there. It says, are you wondering why there's no posts here?
Yeah, I'm perfect just to keep it active.
I would love to teach you how to grow your business without social media. So that has kind of become my thing, which was completely an accident. So what I teach honestly is like confidently tell people that you can help them. Really lean into referrals, have a really good product and service that gets people incredible results and encourage them to go talk about it. And they will. And this is very old school, stuff, but it's the stuff that works. So in my opinion, if you base your business on all of those things, then all the fancy online stuff gets a lot easier and a lot more effective because you can just be in front of more people. But that engine that is fueling your business is still just chugging along.
Makes a lot of sense. What has that done for your mental health to just be off of social?
It's just amazing. I don't know, because I feel like I'm busy enough now. And I think back, I'm like, how would I have enough hours in the day to do anything else that I wanted to do if I was cramming in a couple hours of scrolling on Instagram like I used to do? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I
Now
know
it's
for
been so
me,
long that
yeah,
I don't even think about it, but it certainly was a change for quite a while to not just like grab my phone and just scroll when I
right.
was bored, when I was confused, when I was anxious, and just to never do that anymore is, yeah, definitely different. But people in my life on a personal level, like, oh gosh, you have to text this one. She never sees anything. You got to keep her up to date. Like, I said, yeah, you do, because I'm other reason I'm not going to see it. It's kind of a joke. And
But
yeah,
your true friends will do that.
they
And so,
do.
yeah.
They do.
And then you have more time to reach out to people because you're not scrolling. So great.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
So I mean, mentally, I think it's great. I think it's been great with the timing wise of this happening and the age of my kids. I've been, I can like really be the mom that's like, no, you're not going on social media. I don't either. Which I feel like would be like I would feel a little, hypocrisy there if I was scrolling social media and then telling them they shouldn't do it. But it's a hard no in our house. So that's
It is
working
a
for now.
thing. Yeah. And it breaks my heart when my kids catch me and they're like, Mom, are you on your phone for business or for fun? And I'm like, oh, like that just doesn't feel good, you know? And I'm just like, shoot, I'm not actually doing anything productive on here right now. And they catch me in the moment. And I'm like, I hate that they see that, it's just not a good, healthy thing. So I'm more and more just trying to like put the phone away when I'm with them. But it's hard when your business, right? You are getting DMs, you are getting those things that you're having to respond to. And so I love your method. But
Thank
can you
you.
tell us a little bit more too about so somewhat switching gears,
Mhm.
how do your nutritionists, your dietitians, your coaches, people that you're working with find the right people? So how are they finding the people who are really looking for the coaching that they offer? And, how are they attracting those ideal clients?
Ooh, that's such a good question. So to be honest, a lot of my people still are on social media. They're just not relying on it. So I want to be also very honest about that. Like, I don't have any judgment on that. My method works. It's really about being better in your messaging and being more confident in your approach and saying the things that you want to say, whatever that is, wherever that is. But for a lot of my people, they really thrive on the one-on-one connection with potential clients. I think a lot of people do. A lot of people get into this line of work because that's what they envision themselves doing anyway. It's like, I just want to help people, and I'm great in a one-on-one setting. And I just want to do that. I don't love the social media. So for a lot of people that don't really want to be that visible online, that's why this strategy works really well. And so we talk about the conversations, and I encourage them to track conversations. And I'm just very honest that like a lot of these conversations are going to go nowhere, but you're going to learn a lot. So the idea of every conversation that you have about your business is just to get another tally mark. Like I had 5 conversations today. I had 10 conversations this week. I had 20 conversations this week, and just increase the reps of talking about what you do. Saying the words, I can help you, to somebody when they tell you they're struggling, you look at them or you type it or like whatever the delivery mechanism is. It doesn't matter if it's online or in person, and you confidently say, I can help you. Stop. Like, you don't word vomit anything else. You just say, I can help you. And having those conversations. And when you put yourself into having more of those conversations because you're tracking it, because you're realizing, okay, I got to like figure out when I said this thing, if that person really leaned in, they responded, they asked more questions versus when I said it this way, their eyes glazed over. They had no idea what I was talking about and they changed the subject. Okay, great. Now we know we need to say more of this thing over here. And we just track it. It's much less about like, okay, I got to nail this conversation. Then I just have to have a lot of conversations and figure out what resonates with my people. That's getting dialed in on your messaging, figuring out what are the results they really want? What are the problems that they're talking about? Not the problems you think they have, because you know that they have different problems than what they probably think they have. But how are they talking about those problems? How are they talking about the solution that they want? Because you might have the solution, but you're not talking about it in a way that they even understand. So then you're explaining it in a way that they don't understand. They don't understand that you have the right solution. Well, how do we know that? You just have to have a lot of conversations. You have to pay attention. You have to evaluate them afterwards. And the way we do that is just having lots of conversations. So I don't feel like I answered that question very well, but I think mindset on it's not going to be the next conversation that gets you a client. Might be. That's not the goal. The goal is like, let's just really talk about your business a lot and figure out what way resonates with your ideal clients and what way resonates with clients that you actually don't want to attract. We call them your easiest clients and your hardest clients is the verbiage that I use. Your easiest clients, they're already motivated. They're already looking for the solution. You're not trying to convince them of anything. They already know that they want the help. They're capable. They're resourceful. They're hot. They're ready to go. Your hardest clients, they need a lot of convincing. They need a lot of extra hand holding. They're pushing your boundaries. You say that this is how it's going to go, and they're like pushing a little bit extra. They want they're a little victim-y, a little blamey. Like that can show up in a lot of different ways. But the way that we present our messaging and the marketing in the beginning is how we will attract both of those clients. So in my method, we talk a lot about that. Like, oh, okay, so that attracted a hardest client, noted. How did that happen? Like, how do you think that you created that? Well, I remember on the discovery call, they asked these questions and here's how I answered it. And I think I should have probably said it this way instead. And they may not have, so many different ways I can go. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, Valerie. I feel like I went.
I like that reframe though, because I think a lot of coaches see it as a win or a failure, right? They get on a sales call and it's like, did they close them or not? And then it's assumed to be a failure if that person didn't sign up with them. But really what you're saying is that every call is a win because you are getting something from it, right? Totally. Whether it's learning how not to sell, how not to talk about your product, or getting a new client through the door. And then you can learn further from that, what type of client was that?
And I also learn, like, what is your preference in how you want to market your business? The more that you do it, the more you try different things. So I have a process in my program where we kind of do an audit of what do you love? What comes really naturally to you? What's low-hanging fruit? Some people are introverted. They would never dream of going to a networking meeting. That would be just absolute torture. Well, then we're not going to do that. That's not going to be the way that you're going to go have conversations with people. Others are like, I could just go to a networking meeting. I have one client I'm thinking of in particular that grew a 6-figure practice from doing talks at the public library. And that was her thing. She's like, I used to be a teacher. This is so easy for me. Can I just do it this way? Like, yes, let's do the things that are easy for you. Let's just do that.
Great.
And so she would have lots of conversations with people and word of mouth and the referrals. And she was the public library talk lady. Like, that just can be that easy, but it's a matter of every marketing strategy works. Every single way to get clients works. They all do. But will you actually keep doing it when it doesn't work the first time? Will you actually keep doing it day after day, week after week, month after month? Or is it something that innately you just like, I'm not good at this. I don't like this. I resent it. I'm not confident in this way. Then don't do that. Don't. And for a lot of people like that, it happens to be social media, people that are really health and wellness mindful of that. Like, I don't actually want to be on my phone all the time. So then let's not have that be your primary strategy.
Right. And I think too, a lot of people, at first it doesn't feel good because they're not super confident in their own product. And I think once they get like really confident in their product, they feel like they built something that does truly help people and changes people's life. It turns into more offering and welcoming people into a gift, right? And instead of selling something that you're like, I hope this works, right? And you're more offering something and bringing people in and into something that you know is going to be beneficial for them. And so I think that too is like, are you good with your offer? Are you confident about your offer? Because that makes a big difference when it comes to marketing it.
Huge difference. And I think a lot of people aren't. And so they think, I got to just go get another certification. I got to go get a few more letters behind my name. I got to be able to go do this next kind of lab testing. And then I'm going to be really confident in my offer. Then I'm going to. And it's just the never ending education. And the further, I don't know what you see, but what I see is the more certification someone has, the less likely they are to actually have a business where they help the people that they want to help.
Yeah. Well, then they start talking in science language, right?
Yeah.
Instead of really, truly in like your client's verbiage, in your client's language. And that too, it's like, the more you separate yourself from their problems, the less you can relate to them. And so especially now in this day and age, I find that community is just so valuable. Community, one-on-one, like all of that kind of more personalized coaching is going to be huge because there's so many AI platforms that can do
information is it's free. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's holding back information anymore. You don't have any information that people can't get in 10 different places.
So you just need to be there. You just be there to hold them accountable, to ask them questions. That's what people really, really want right now. So tell us, if somebody does have a failed sales call or a failed launch or failed whatever it is that they're doing, what would you recommend they do? What are they looking at? How did this thing go? How am I going to improve in these areas? What would you recommend they do?
Okay. So mindset, I think, is just the key to all of this, and going into it knowing it's probably not going to work. And that's okay. It's not
the
a problem.
First time, right?
We like plan failures. I have an exercise that my clients do at the beginning, like, okay, what are the 25 failures of this quarter? Let's just write them down and let's get them done as quick as possible. Well, what happens is if you go to any experience expecting this totally normal if it fails, because it's the first time I've ever done it, then it's fine. And then what happens is you're successful a lot more often. You take a lot more at bats, you take a lot more swings, whatever metaphor we put in here. I'm sure there's one that fits really well. Like that is really what it's all about. So knowing if you have a failed launch, when you have a failed launch, if you have a failed discovery call where you say all of the worst things and you just can't get off of it fast enough, when you say all of the worst things, of course it will happen. It will. And that's okay. It's just like, whew, okay, that was one to learn from. Now, why did that happen? Why did I create that? So I have a 3-part evaluation formula. It's super simple. It's what went well. We always start with what went well, even in the depths of the cringe, like what went well. I had a discovery call. Okay, I did a launch. I freaking did it. Like that was so much. Did not get the results I wanted, but I did the launch. We celebrate what went well. You have to bring your brain to that positive place where it's looking for possibility. It's looking for evidence that things are working because something always is working. We want to, say like that failed, that didn't work, that was terrible. Well, there are aspects that were great and that were working as planned. So let's recognize that first, always going to that place. Then after we've taken a lot more time on the what went well than our brain wants to, because it wants to go to the, here's what's terrible. We have to celebrate first. Then we go to the, okay, what didn't go well? Take notes. I recommend doing this either digitally or writing it out, but having actual documentation when you do an evaluation like this, especially after discovery calls and especially when you're new. Because when you do those, you just have to do it right away when you're fresh after the call, when it's fresh in your mind. What went well? What didn't go well? Okay, they said this, they said that. If you can record these, do. Gold, absolute gold. I know a lot of times that could be a little bit weird for people. So maybe don't stress about that too much. A discovery call that isn't recorded is fine. But if you can do them on Zoom, that's amazing. Then you can review it. And then after you make a list of what didn't go well, it's just super simple. What am I going to do differently next time? And then maybe just like pick one thing to improve for the next time. The list of the what I'm going to do differently can't be 20 things long because we won't do 20 things differently either. But it's just what went well, what didn't go well, what am I going to do differently next time?
Right. And sometimes when we do try to make too many changes, we can't assess what actually made the difference, right? And so when we make 1 or 2 small tweaks, we can say like, okay, that one phrase I used at the end or that space I gave them to talk for a little bit longer, whatever it may be, actually was the thing that made the difference, right? And so having 1 or 2 changes can be really beneficial. And I love, that you say like, okay, let's figure these things out. Because I think a lot of coaches just say, well, that didn't go so well. And then they scrap it and they try a whole new strategy, right? And they move on to the next course or the next thing. And it's like, shoot, you just spent so much time honing in on this. And now we're throwing it in the trash, right? Yes. But really, there was so much more, like you said, possibility there. It's just about refining the technique.
Yeah. So this is what happened to me in the beginning of my nutrition practice. So I launched an online course way too soon in my business. I had not worked with very many one-on-one clients. To be honest, I didn't really know if I could help them. Like it was like in theory, I think all of this stuff I'm teaching in this course should work. We're gonna throw it out there. It's gonna be fine. Terrible recipe. Didn't really know how to sell to the people because I didn't really know what their objections were. I hadn't had that many one-on-one sales conversations. Hadn't had enough clients to really know, does this process work? It was my best worst guess. And threw it out there, sold this course. So $5,000 in enrollments in this course is what we made. I had a business partner at the time. And we thought this was a dismal failure. We could not believe that every single person on the internet did not buy this course the first time we launched it. Like, can you imagine? This was awful. And we never resold it. It just died a very quick, tragic death. We both moved on to doing memberships and other courses and other things as quickly as possible. And that was a pattern because we had, like, the expectation was so unrealistic. And so maybe because of that experience, I'm hyper vigilant in the other way, but like the expectation is 0. We're just learning here. And then what happens is we learn faster and the results aren't 0. But if the expectation is I'm going to be a millionaire from this online course launch, and we sell $5,000, which now I'm like, well, how are we not doing cartwheels with a $5,000 launch?
I was going to say $5,000 on your first launch is actually good.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Great. But there was nobody there saying that's amazing. It was like, nah, okay, so that's terrible. Let's go do this next thing. Let's go do this next thing. To your point, that frenzy and that like, I got to figure out the thing. It just wastes so much. It literally wasted years in my business versus, okay, something about this worked. Yep. What could we do better next time? What could we, like, where was the breakdown and what were the things that actually worked? Let's do more of those and like, let's fix this other stuff. Could have been so successful, so much faster.
Yep. So yeah, lesson learned. Now you know.
Lesson learned.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about your pricing strategies, because I know you teach your coaches to do more of the high ticket stuff. So what do you recommend a coach charge for their services, and what would that look like?
Yeah, like a lot more than they feel comfortable charging. I'm like, what's that number that you feel a little nervous about? Let's double that number, and then we might be in the right range, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. People don't charge enough. They don't charge enough to stay in business. And most people are not running ads right now. So that's a completely different strategy to have leads coming in to sell low ticket stuff like you and I both do. That's different than I'm just starting out. I haven't made six figures yet, even if you're not starting out, but I haven't made six figures yet. I'm working with one-on-one clients. You can't do the same strategies that people are doing that have a lot more eyeballs on their stuff and have a completely different ascension model. Like they're completely different things, but people don't see that or don't know that in the beginning. And so they want to sell something that is, I mean, we see this all the time. It's like, I'm going to do a session for $97. And then
even lower than that.
I'm going to
I
wow
hear
them
people
in
like,
this session, and then they're going to hire me for the next however many months. Well, it doesn't happen that way. What we do instead is then get somebody for $97, completely blast them like a fire hose with information, and we're going to fix this, and we're going to fix this, and give them way too much. They shut down. They think, okay, we can't have more of that. They don't actually hire you for the long term. And, you know, I say you, but this is like for all of us. Our business can't survive with, you know, a one-off $100 here, $100 there. And so then people quit. And it's really just was like the offer was wrong. The pricing was wrong. It was never going to be profitable. So with a higher ticket strategy, you are helping people, like we said earlier, like you are helping them, you are coaching them. It is personalized. It is very high touch, and they are paying handsomely for that. And that's how you get resources in your business so that you then can create different offers in the future. And you can have, more sophisticated tech stuff going on. You can have a VA that helps you with that kind of stuff, but your business is profitable and can afford to do all of those things, which I just think is really missing in our industry is the education around what does this look like in the beginning versus the end? Because people just see the end. They see like, what that looks like. And that's not the starting point.
Right. I think too, what a lot of people think too is like, oh, well, you can do this because you have, this large of an audience. And it's like, we all started at zero. Every single one of us started at zero. So I always tell people that is like, there's no reason that this can't be you in 5 years because, I too, and you too, Andrea, and every coach that you see that's doing well right now, at one point had no clients, right? And so yes, I like that. And then when you're saying high ticket, just for reference, I'd love to know, like, what are some of your coaches asking for financially?
Okay, so it really varies because I have people with very different certifications and specialties and serving different clients. But I recommend that they start at least at $3,000 per client. And they pay between $3,000 and $4,000 to be in my program. So I think that's a good starting point. Like you are willing to invest $3,000 to $4,000 to get this type of help. Why wouldn't somebody pay you for that type of help? Like why wouldn't that work? Oh, okay. Well, it turns out it would work. So that's usually a good starting point. Some people take that advice. Some people don't, but they usually quickly get up to that if they aren't there already. And then I have clients charging $10K plus.
Yep.
And everywhere in between.
Okay. And is that a lot of one-on-one or group stuff or
usually one-on-one? Yeah, usually one-on-one.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's do a round of quick fire. Are you up for it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I would love to know, start with, so whatever top of mind, quick fire questions, top of mind stuff, you're just going to say what comes first. Sure. So one business decision you made that you would do over and over again.
Simplifying down to one offer. I used to have all the offers and I have one offer.
Biggest mistake nutritionists make in their first year?
Undercharging.
One belief about building a wellness business you wish practitioners let go of?
That has to be hard.
I like that. One simple but effective marketing strategy you use today?
I've already said this, but it's saying the words, I can help you. 4 words.
Just riffing on that a little bit too, because earlier when you said that, I was like, oh, I want to expand upon that because I can help you. And then you said, period, stop, the end.
Stop talking.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of people it's like coaches want to coach them out of or talk them out of signing up with them almost. And it's like when you can just put it at that, oh my gosh, it makes the decision so much more simple and let them do the talking, right? Not so much you.
Exactly.
One book recommendation.
Ooh, profit first.
Mm, I do like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Best efficiency hack.
I mean, probably no social media is a great efficiency hack.
Totally. No, stop wasting your time. Okay. Yep. There we
Stop
go. That's a
wasting your
good
time.
efficiency
But we
hack.
could make that a little bit more general. Like, don't keep doing things that aren't giving you the results that you want.
Mm-hmm. So hone in on what's working, right?
Yeah,
Double down on
what's
what's working. Stop doing the things that aren't.
Yep.
What's your favorite way to celebrate a big win?
Ooh, I mean, I'm a massage girl, so I'm basic in that way. Like I like to have a massage on the calendar when I'm celebrating.
Yes, that always feels good. Well, tell us a little bit more about where people can find you, what you offer.
Yeah. So the Profitable Nutritionist is my one program. It's my one offer. And in the program, it is a 12-month program. You get group coaching. You get our process for signing your first client, your first $100,000 a year, everything in between. So we have coaches that come in that have never worked with a client yet. They've never signed a single person. And that the process that we bring our clients through is perfect for that. We also have really seasoned coaches and practitioners that are burnt out because they aren't charging enough. They're working with too many clients. They don't have systems and processes. So either end of the spectrum is fine. We have a really simplified way for growing your practice without doing the stuff that doesn't work and doing things that you actually enjoy, because it turns out you will have a much healthier life and you'll enjoy your business a lot more when you do it that way. So that's the Profitable Nutritionist program. Obviously, your people are podcasters. I also have a podcast called the Profitable Nutritionist Podcast.
Yeah. And actually, I have one more question, because on that, I, of course, was looking through your program and I'm like, oh, she has a high ticket course and she puts the price right on the page, which I really liked to see, because again, it's that kind of counterintuitive thing of what we're taught the opposite a lot of times. So what's your thought process behind, putting the price right on there, even though it is a higher ticket price?
So I think that that's a filter for how many calls you have or how many applications you want for people that do applications. I don't know what your philosophy is, but mine is like, if you have enough hours in the day to do more discovery calls, let's not filter the amount of discovery calls. We need more practice doing sales calls. We need more practice overcoming objections and talking to your easiest clients and like really getting in their head. Let's just have as many calls as you can. Again, getting the data. Like, let's just do as many calls as we can. So in that situation, I recommend not putting the price on the page. And that makes people really nervous a lot of times. Like, I don't want to have to say it in person. And so there's a lot of mindset stuff that we do, to coach around that. Like, what are we scared that they're going to say? What are we afraid of? So I think that could be a good filter. Then when you are at capacity for the amount of calls that you have or the amount of clients that you can take, putting the price on there just makes sense. Naturally, there will be slightly less or maybe significantly less calls that you will do, but that makes sense in your business model at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it sets the expectation of, why they're getting on. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for my program, like, I talk about it all the time. I talk about what the price is. And so I'm not trying to reveal that on a sales call or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's really for what the value that people are getting from this. It's really actually not like super, super high. I thought it was actually quite reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you, Andrea, so much for coming on. This has been great.
Oh my gosh, I so appreciate it. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation from today. Any links we discussed will be in the show notes below. Also, we would be incredibly grateful if you would leave us a 5-star review. This helps us keep the podcast going so that we can continue to provide value for all of you. I hope we see you on the next one.